The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
All right, welcome. It's Thursday, the 15th day. Is it the 15th? Yeah, it's the day after Valentine's, the 15th day of February 2024. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamel Hartman. Hopefully be joined by Larry Marshall Jr. if we get some things sorted out. And Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break a little later. So, folks, you know, Sherry, I'm gonna talk about Sherry real quick. I feel safe doing that when she's not in studio with me. So Sherry has, I had to channel my inner Sherry. Let me put it like that, because Sherry's a hugger, and you know, I wasn't an affectionate person, right? I didn't do a lot of hugging, but now I do, because Sherry made me a believer in hugging. So, you know, yesterday, last day, and hugging people were hugging me, I should say. And yeah, I had to think, like, you know how someone kind of tells you, Jamal, it's not that bad. Just I literally, I'm not telling you any lie right now. I had to think of Sherry as I was doing it. So I'm all hugged out probably for the year, unless, you know, I guess it's somebody that really, really, like my niece or, you know, love one or something. But it was a very interesting day, to say the least. But anybody else out there, like, they're not huggers, like, you're not huggers. I mean, I'm a part-time or contract hugger at this point, because Sherry has turned me into like a contract hugger. But I didn't grow up as a hugger. You know, people don't understand this. I have a friend who says his girlfriend, like, she don't come from like a hug kind of family. So, and he does, and it's just weird because, you know, he comes from an affectionate she didn't, and it's like he found it weird how she didn't hug her parents or whatnot. And I'm just like, people love in different ways. Let me use my partner, Keitha. Some of you know Keitha. Keitha, one of the owners of this company. So we were in graduate school, right? And one day she done something to me. I was like, come here, Keitha, come here. And I was trying to, you know, get her back. And she said, no, why you want me to come over there? And I said, I want to give you a hug. It's like, why you want to hug me? I said, because I love you. And she says, my parents love me and I don't hug them. I mean, she's just one cold St. George's girl. But anyway, my point is, I was not like Keitha. We weren't hugging people. So I'm getting used to this stuff. Here Sherry is with her big mouth sending you a hug this morning. Stop that. She says, not a contact hugger, a contract hugger. Yeah, I did say a contract hugger. I'm a contract hugger at this point. Farah Palacio says, I'm affectionate, but I do not give hugs to just anyone at all. Okay, so you make me feel a bit better. Well, Keitha gave Sherry a hug. I probably had two my whole life, but I don't want any from her anyway. I don't, you know, whatever. Someone on Instagram says, physical touch is important. Uplift Kaylin says, physical touch is important. Well, I guess, I mean, you know, I didn't really get love like, you know, that. All right, so let's bring Larry in. Larry's joining me this morning. Before we get into today, like, I want to ask him about hugging. Like, morning, brother.
Good morning. How's everybody?
Good. So are you like, did you come up from a hugging space?
Not really. But, and she's gonna kill me. She might even hear me saying this. My wife is a hugger. with you know, and I have to get into it. But I am one of those people. If I haven't seen you in a long time and I'm really surprised, hey man, I might give you for a hug. But generally, I'm not a hugger.
Sherry said you hugged her too. Yeah.
Sherry brings that out of me.
No, but I'm dead serious. I'm telling you no lie. Like you all don't understand. Sherry has literally made me think about it. Like Jamal, it's not the end of the world. I just didn't come up like that. Honestly, my father hugs me a lot now. Like where people change over time, and I think I've gotten used to that. Like my baby sister, but I just didn't come up, and I don't know how to react to it sometimes, especially if it's people that I know, but we ain't like that. Like family. Yeah. I've grown to hug my family a bit more because as we've gotten older, my family has become that, I guess.
Yeah. And then it's just if you're comfortable with it and, that dynamic, a lot of times, guys, we ain't really hugging each other. But if it's a female, then it becomes, if they're comfortable with it. So I kind of just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, folks. So if you see me in Bermuda, I'm going to do my best to channel my inner Sherry. She's taught me how to show affection. Farah Palacios says it's still a pandemic. That's a good enough.
Yep, you're right.
Suzanne Ingham says hugs, it depends. All right, folks. Greetings to you all, and thanks for letting us be a part of your daily routine. We appreciate you. And a good one today as we welcome the mayor of St. George, Quinell Francis, to the show. We're discussing the Old Town, and you all know, I know you only think it's 2 days a year, but that is my favorite part of Bermuda. The Old Town. I've always said, that's where I got my engagement pictures and stuff. They have a lot going on. I'm not going to give too much away because, of course, the mayor may have a lot to share with you as well. But my bias is, that's my favorite town. So a lot to discuss with the mayor this morning. So get your questions and comments ready. The Daily Players are name that place today. Name that place. Okay. Black History Month, I guess. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right. I got another comment on Instagram. It says, Caitlin says, an interesting study was done on premature babies and holding the babies that were held. Their health was much better than those without physical touch. Okay, so maybe it's a health. Maybe if I get more hugs, I won't get sick. Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm going to try. That's what
Okay. Let me know how that works out for you.
All right, broski. Headley and Swan says, I love hugging, but only to people special to me. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I can't say that. Okay. I was going to say those people hugging me weren't special to me, but look, let's get into today's conversation. Audience, do you know what today is?
February 15th.
Well, yeah. It's the coach day for some guys who didn't show up for their latest yesterday, too.
It's fitting that the fellows are on today. But go ahead, continue.
Yeah, right. But today is the day before is the budget, the Bermuda's budget. So it's budget eve. And the Premier of Bermuda will be, sharing his budget address tomorrow. So the question of the morning, we're just going to get into it. What would you like to see in the government's 2024-25 budget address? What would you like to see? As Bermudians who on this show, we brainstorm, we discuss solutions to what the country is experiencing. We know the issues we have. We have an aging population. We have our infrastructure is crumbling before our eyes. Education. There's a lot to talk. You hear it. Jobs and opportunities, healthcare, violence, road safety. There's so much. Are we losing in danger of losing business to the Cayman Islands and other jurisdictions? Elon Musk just said this morning or last night that tax haven, Delaware, tax haven, he's taken Space Link or whatever it's called and moving it to Austin, Texas. Is this a threat to us? So what would you like to see in the government's 2024-25 budget address? But first question, Larry, we should ask this. Do you care about the government's other? government's budget speech? Yes or no? Do you
Yeah.
care? Be honest. Do you care?
No, I just dropped the budget and let it be a press release or something. You don't have to have this. I think it's the pomp and pageantry and the oldie. I'm over it. Just give us the budget. We don't need it read to us, and give the bullet points you feel that's important.
Okay. What do you think? Do you agree with Larry? Like, what do you care about the budget speech, or do you just want, like he said, just put it in a press release and we'll get it? What would you like to see? We've got Uplift Kalen on Instagram says a plan for country debt, sufficient funds to education and our infrastructure. Yeah, I think that addresses quite a few things.
Yeah.
I think debt. I mean, what is it now? I mean,
I think it was 3 billion, 3 point something billion.
Mhm.
It's interesting because I have we need to know the status of the national debt, and especially has it increased or are we reducing it?
Mhm.
And I would like to see investments
Mhm.
for Bermudians, but with tangible, like where we can see the returns. You know what I mean? I think sometimes what they talked about vertical farming and the building still not even being used.
Mhm.
I think last year we talked about a virtual bank. Like, come on, we can't even get a bus schedule right. Like, what are we talking about? Like, I think we just need things for Bermudians that we could say, you know what, that's worked out. And then I think for me, one of the things you said a lot earlier,
Mhm.
but we need to reduce the cost of food. We need to find a way. I don't know if we have to get behind the farmers for some way, but I think the cost of food is just taking Bermuda to another level. I think we can understand high rents and stuff like that, but when you're struggling to feed your people, that becomes very significant for me.
Indeed. And everything you just said made sense to me. Audience, what do you think? What would you like to see in the government's 2024-25 budget address? And we've got Farah Palacio, who says the roads and housing. She wants to see them included, that addressed. I
Yeah.
would like to know, she says, what is happening with the physical schools? Mm.
Yeah.
Kenton Trot says, good morning to the H family. I would like to see plans to grow the economy and more funding for education. Yeah. I folks, you know, we're a very intelligent group that has community meetings every morning, right? Every last one of us. I'm sure if there's one thing we agree with, it's that education is the foundation to any functioning community, society, and economy. I think where we differ is what education looks and feels like. And, you know, there's been this thing, Somerset Primary, West End, and the East End school situation. We saw the front page yesterday speaking about reading, right? And the literacy rate. I would love to see more investment in education for the students, not the politicians, not for the educators, for the students. But if we are to do that, invest in this space, where do we take from?
It's interesting you said that. A while back, I was making the case for education in the barbershop. You know, a barbershop talk is, Harvin.
Mhm.
And the person agreed, and there was a fireman, and he was saying, "So where you gonna get it from? They're gonna take away from us
Mhm.
because ours isn't." And it made me think because at the time I was in education and I saw how important it was in this. But again, it just can't occur out of anywhere. I think the issue is when I think Bermudians are okay with a shared sacrifice, but when we see things over the year where consultants are getting certain things and trips are just getting out of control. And I'm not a big person on, oh well, he played a trip. I understand heads of state and some things have to have trips. That will be costly. I get it. But I think sometimes we have to see that shared sacrifice at the top. And I think that will all, it contributes to everything. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
I agree with you. I agree with you, and it seems like many in the audience do as well. Sherry says, "Agree with you, Lara," and Shonda Shields says, "Additional funding to reduce homelessness." This is an interesting one for me, because there's so many things that contribute to homelessness. One person being homeless is very different from another. When I was volunteering at a homeless shelter back in the day, I learned so much. There were people, and again, even like, I don't know why I did not know Sherry would be tuned in this morning, but Sherry has worked in spaces where you learn that children age out of certain situations and have no place to go, right? And that leads to homelessness, right? You read these stories in the Royal Gazette right now, and there are some people who they were living with family, and then someone passed away, and they couldn't keep stuff. There's situations where people had work-related injuries or accidents or so on, and they can no longer function and do the work. There's so many things that lead to homelessness, right? All that to say, Sean, I agree with you. I'm wondering, how do we do this? And I guess my people keep saying the government's not broke, it has money. It's just a matter of how they spend it. And they bring things up like 800,000 to a studio that never came, and they start to list the things that government has wasted money on.
Yeah, that's the issue.
And I understand that. I do. Angeline Butler says she agrees with Larry. Suzanne Ingham says, Jamal, I'm pleading the fifth on this question. It will be brutal. No, I don't care, because it's not about the people. Well,
Fair enough.
Yeah, I agree. G. Howard says, agree with Larry, pontification unnecessary. And Sherry Vanderpool says, does anyone know the amount of debt we were in prior to comparison, in comparison to now? I did, Sherry. Off the top of my head, I don't. But we were at 2 billion. I don't remember dates and stuff, Sherry.
I think in the mid 2000s, I know we was at about half a billion.
Yeah.
And it has gotten to close to 4 billion now.
Yeah.
So in the last 20 years, that's when we've seen a significant increase. But I'd like to touch on something real quick. And I think I've said it before, I'm not sure on the show, but I would like to see what the plan is, or if it's in there to attract investment into Bermuda, foreign investment. I think this group of politicians right now want to be businessmen with the public purse, and I just feel like the politicians should be there for the legislation and push through policies that the people, that's what's best for the people, and take care of the people along with some other things. But trying to come up with their own business startups and stuff like that, I'm just not for it. I think that's what we've seen the past few years. Do we want to get those people to, whether they're local, to help with them and have them do it, or get other people to come in and do it? I'm okay with that. But I don't like this trend of us trying to come up and be a business per se with the public purse.
Charles Jeffers spoke about that some years ago, when I think in one of the budgets the government announced something about Carolina Bay. Tell me if I'm wrong, and I'm not sure if Charles is tuned in, but I want to say some years ago he mentioned that the government shouldn't be in the business, right? You're there to govern, not be in business. But
I agree.
All right, audience, what would you like to see in the government's 2024-25 budget address to be delivered tomorrow, February 16th? Farah Palacio says, I'll tell you what I do not want to see. Foreign consultants for things I know we can sort out, like the bus schedule. And I honestly want to see less trips, honestly. I think everyone should want to. I mean, it's not even just the foreign consultants. It's the amount of money they're getting paid. We're talking millions.
Yeah.
And it's like, where are the results for it? Look, this is being in government is a results business. If it's about results.
It should be.
I put a tweet yesterday, and I hope people understand the tweet beyond their own bias, right? But I put a tweet yesterday, and I literally said, the best way to measure the success of any government isn't in what they tell you they've done. Rather, it's in how the people they govern for are living. That's how you measure a government success. It's not about what someone's telling you they're doing for you. If you're not feeling, this is my problem with tourism overall, and I'm not just talking about Bermuda tourism, is stop pulling this data and saying, oh, numbers are great, this and that. If the people of the country, and especially the most vulnerable, are not living well, then you're not doing well. That's what it comes down to. It's like being an owner of a company, right? If I own a business or pastor of a church, I'm the pastor of a church. Nobody in my company or my church should be struggling. I'm sorry. Because I should be able to, as a business, ensure that I can pay them enough where they don't have to. And if I'm unable to do that, then maybe I shouldn't be in business.
Yeah.
Because the church, at the end of the day, I am not in a church, so I could be wrong in what I'm saying. And I'm not going to say the church, I'm going to say religion overall. I think if it's about ensuring that we're taking care of each other as a community, we should ensure that someone who is struggling no more due to what we can help as a community to get them out of that. That's my point. Let's go back to the audience. What would you like to see in the government's budget? We've got Mark Arthur C. Phillips says, lower the national debt and improve the infrastructure, e.g. roads. Chai Vanderpool says, definitely reduction of food. Agreed, Larry. And also, what are our plans for homelessness, education, economy, social development, like real tangible plans? Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is the son of a pastor, folks. Just go and preach it. Don't worry about that. Renee Simmons says, whether we care or not, government is going to do what they do. What people say certainly doesn't matter. There's a multitude of requirements, but who's listening? The national debt is a major concern. And consultants are a failed panacea. Did I pronounce that right?
Hey, Hartman, I wanted to take this comment, but I didn't want that word.
Yeah, our budget. G. Howard says, consultants are laughing at us all the way to the bank, shaking my head, I'm sure Sherry Vanderpool says. And Kia Vinay BDA says, more funds put toward food security. Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. And Charles H. Jeffs II, we'll go to the news because we do have a very special guest coming up, the mayor of St. George, Quinell Francis. Really looking forward to the conversation. Again, my biased favorite part of Bermuda. But Charles H. Jeffs II says, yes, last year they announced their plans for Morgan's Point, and I said their only plan should be to find an investor to take over the land, period. Yes, thank you, Charles. See, I knew
yes, I completely agree.
Yeah, the government should not be managing that. Look, let's be clear here. I saw something this morning, and I shared it with my dear friend, mentor, and I woke up. I always feel guilty, but I have to remember Bermuda's an hour ahead. But I tell you guys a lot that I like to read business stuff, right? And I read on Business Insider, and the article basically was layoffs in 2024 so far. We're only a month and a half in as of today, right? Oh, there are layoffs taking place like nothing. Name a company. I mean, they're laying off thousands of people throughout these companies. And it hit me that Bermudians are not being told the truth. But here's the thing, even when we're not being told the truth, we can seek it because there's enough resources for us. What do I mean Bermudians not being told the truth? I remember David Burt and his goofy smile. I didn't have to say that. I remember Premier David Burt, sorry. I'm trying to get better at this. Was at the PLP Delegates Conference. And he was pandering to the president of the Bermuda Industrial Union. And he says, we're going to create 800 union jobs, right? Said that. And the crowd started clapping. And I said to myself, this is the worst act of politics ever. Because I tell you what, you all don't believe me, but when that hotel reopens, years from now, you think they're going to need front desk people? These people want to make a return. They're not about creating jobs. They're about making money. Now, if it takes a couple jobs to make money, they'll do it. But you don't need people to check in. Oh, here's your code to retrieve your key for your room. You don't need bartenders anymore. You all are stuck thinking, oh, no, bartenders have person. It's a protected job. Okay, well, I'm a hotel invested in Bermuda. I'll eliminate that job. You want whiskey and ginger, scotch and whiskey? I don't know what goes with what. You know what I mean. But anyway,
yeah,
go press
machines right there. Yeah,
and you get your scotch and whiskey. Put your card in, folks. When I see these articles, and I encourage you all to read, because the last thing I want any of us to do is to be caught off guard by lying politicians making us believe that all is well. So while none of us are interested in hearing David Burt talk, read that budget. Understand what that budget means for you. And if nothing else, compare it to some other jurisdictions. Because what we don't want is next month, Trevor's got a story up with a layoff here and layoffs there, and we're all up in arms. Folks, get ready.
Yeah, we have to be more informed.
Get ready. Get ready. It's time to bring Maya Palacio in for the Daily Hour News Break. After the break, we have the Mayor of St. George, Quinell Francis. Stick with us.
Good morning. Good morning.
Greetings, MP. How are you?
Feeling okay this morning?
Morning.
Oh, this is wonderful. This is wonderful. Have you heard the conversation at all?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Moving on. What's the news?
I thought you was coming for a joke, Jamal. Anyway, sorry.
You want to? No,
Good morning. Good morning. This is your Daily Hour News Break brought to you by People's Pharmacy this morning. And starting out the news, if you did hear it, but it's good news that the Bermuda Police Service can confirm that Mr. Lawrence Smith, who was first missing, has now been located and he is safe and well. And the BPS would like to thank the public for their assistance.
We are happy to hear that. I did see that come last night, and I was very concerned. Never like to see people get missing, especially elderly people.
Yes, indeed. In other news. In other news, the Minister of Tourism, Culture and Sport, the Senator Owen K. Dow, announces that the reopening of the W.E.R. Joel Tennis Stadium and also some improvements as well. So let's hear about the light update.
New lights have been added to courts 4 and 5, which allows tennis and pickleball to play at night. Previously, tennis and pickleball were only played during the daytime. Additional lights have also been added to the practice wall area. The practice wall area will be transformed into 4 pickleball courts. This transformation will take an area that had low public usage and turn it into a high usage area by facilitating one of the fastest growing sports in Bermuda, as well as the world.
So pickleball is going to get pretty much a big push here, as you've probably seen globally that it's really taken off in sport. But there was a question that was asked as well by Island Stats about whether there's going to be an increase for the tennis stadiums. I don't know if you guys saw, but there was some, little bit of confrontation when it came to the tennis courts and the pickleball courts. So here's an update from the minister on what is to be done with the tennis stadiums as well there.
One of the goals is to increase participation in sport. And we have heard from the Bermuda Lawn Tennis Association, who have been very vocal in that there is a necessity for a certain amount of tennis courts if they wish to hold a tournament. So I know the department will be looking at that. Remember, this facility, although it is managed by the Department of Sport and Recreation, is a facility that is owned by the Ministry of Public Works. So in collaboration with our department, as well as that ministry, if the need arises for further courts, we will definitely look into it, because we are here to serve the sporting public of Bermuda.
Marshall, anything to say on that?
I know the traffic that has happened on at the tennis stadium over the years. I was talking to a person within tennis, and they said it's decreased significantly from when they was a child, and they was just showing this displeasure with it, right? And I'm happy to see that something has happened, because I think overall you want the facility to be used. I think we need to still have enough courts for international tennis or regular tennis tournaments to be available there.
Nice. Well, in other news, and keep going over just some government updates here, but the Minister of Transport actually gave an update on electric buses. So if you are a bus rider who is tuned in right now, this is something you're probably interested in hearing about what type of updates they have going on right now across the island.
Currently, the in-service rate of the buses currently stand at a commendable average of 85 buses per day. Our team is working tirelessly to keep the aging diesel buses operational. We have managed to keep half of them in service, 20 or 40 remaining diesel buses. In the early summer, we faced days with few as 35 buses in operations on a given day. But today we are proud to announce that our daily 85 bus fleet is approaching a full scheduled service designed for 88 buses. The current capacity allows 52 buses to be charged. Simultaneously, a significant improvement from the recent and previous capacity of 4.
I'll move on to the next.
I'm all government. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's fair. Well, in more news, I don't know if you noticed, but this is probably the third update of the different just police initiatives or things that you could apply to in the Bermuda Police Service. But the next one coming up is that the Bermuda Police Service Driver Training Unit currently has several driving training courses in progress. All involved the uses of the police cars and police motorcycles at times traveling at high speeds on our roads. The police car and motorcycle training started Monday, the 12th of February, and last training schedule will be completed on Friday, the 8th of March. So the BPS driver training currently underway includes 3-week standard response and advanced car courses, as well as 3-week standard BPS motorcycle courses. A 2-week instruction in car course is also underway. Now, the road users are reminded to give way and exercise caution when they encounter BPS driver training vehicles, just as they would any emergency vehicle.
One thing, there a lot of stuff going on in BPS right now.
Yeah, definitely. And finally, closing out main news this morning, as you guys may know, I will be having an interview tonight, and it will be live on my Instagram and on YouTube as well with Malachi Simons, who is the newly elected candidate for constituency 15 with the One Bermuda Alliance.
Newly appointed. He's
Newly
not
appointed, sorry, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Don't want people eating you up saying he wasn't elected, but I'm looking forward to that. I like him. Looking forward to hearing that. How's the weather looking?
Weather today is looking like a mix of sun and clouds with a few morning showers as well. A little bit strong winds as well, some gale force winds in the morning. So again, everyone just be cautious when you're out there on those roads.
All righty, Larry, what you got for days of the year?
All right, I have 2 today. Today's World Hippo Day, celebrating the large animal in Africa. And that was started a while back, and I couldn't help myself. But today is also Singles Awareness Day, February 15th.
Well, I mean, Sherry and them said it was Side Chick Day today, apparently. Man.
I'm not touching nothing on that sort.
I don't know. So I just want to give some love to all the side chicks out there. Everybody needs love. So if you're celebrating Side Chick Day, much
Let me
love.
stop laughing. Boy.
We don't discriminate. We don't discriminate on this show. Anyway, Maya.
You gotta stop laughing.
we'll see you soon, Maya.
Bye.
All right.
Make sure you check out Maya tonight, folks, with Malachi on her Instagram and YouTube. We're going to take a quick break. Come back with the Mayor of St. George. It's Quinell Francis. Stick with us. This guy.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
All righty, welcome back to the big show. He's Larry Marshall Jr. I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Do not forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to improve our community. I'm still laughing at Sajid Day, but Farah Pelosi says it's ethical non-monogamy day. So I like that. I love that.
All right. We're learning. Today is always a learning day.
Thank you for that, Farah. You know, we it's part of my growth. All right. Without further ado, let's give a warm TDH welcome to our guests for the day. We've got the mayor of the best old town in Bermuda, St. George, Quinell Francis. Give it up. All right. Morning. How are you?
Good morning.
I'm good, thanks. Good morning to everyone and everyone that's listening.
Thank you so much for doing this. I always say, it's kind of early, and some people come on to like, man, you guys are so early. I'm like, well, in Bermuda, y'all are ahead of where I'm based most of the time. But thank you for doing it either way. We appreciate you, and I'm going to continue to show my bias throughout this conversation. I just hope that makes you comfortable.
Oh, that's great.
Just for those who may not know, just tell the audience a bit about your background and your journey to becoming mayor of St. George. And this is for the second time.
Yes. Well, I'm born, raised, and still living in the town of St. George. So anybody who's St. George, whether you're blue and blue or just live in St. George, hey, we got something in common. Educated at East End Primary, Berkeley Institute, and then I went overseas and got a bachelor's in technology from Ryerson Polytechnic University in survey engineering. When it comes to the Corporation of St. George, I was encouraged around 2011 to take up a post as common counselor that became vacant to see if it was something that I might like. Never thought I'd be in that sort of arena, but I did decide to take it up. And in 2011, I took up that spot. And in 2012, when there was a municipal election, I actually ran for alderman of the Corporation of St. George, was elected. And as I felt that I wanted to see things move along and play my part, it was best if I ran for mayor. So in 2015, I ran for mayor. I was successful, and I carried out that tenure to 2019 when I decided that for personal and professional reasons, I should step down to make sure that everything was working in my professional life and my personal life. It must be noted that as the mayor of St. George or City of Hamilton and even councilors, it's a volunteer position. So taking a lot of my time from, I have a business with another partner. So, I know I needed to ensure that my daily bills or monthly bills were being able to get paid. So I took that little break. In 2023, about 2022, when it was supposed to be an election, many members of the community came to me and asked me if I would possibly put my name forward for mayor again. So it took a lot of soul searching and deciding whether or not this was something that I can do, balance my life back. And in 2023, when the minister said that you're having another election, I did put my name forward. And May 2023, I was elected as mayor of St. George for the second time.
Congratulations. But I didn't know. I don't know if Larry or the audience knew. I did not know it was volunteer. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a very volunteer position. They treat you pretty much like a board. So you do get your $50 for a meeting or $100 if you're the chairperson. So, but the time that it takes outside as the mayor, it's people think I can schedule a meeting all throughout the day when I still have to conduct my own business as well.
Yeah, and I knew it wasn't full time, but I didn't know it was volunteer and the like. But I can only imagine the amount of work it takes. But seeing as you started off, it's your love for the place you're from and you were born. I understand why you would put your energy behind it. Just shifting gears, you recently addressed some concerns with the ferry service to St. George, along with transport. As the mayor of the old town, what are some things that concern you most about what's happening in the old town right now, and what are you doing to address them?
St. George's is like a forgotten area. Many people express how much they enjoy coming to St. George. They love St. George. When you tell me that, I love hearing it because it is my place of home and I enjoy it. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And I just feel that the persons in charge just do not understand the amount of money or resources that's required in maintaining an ill town. Um, Anybody realizes that even an old house or old anything old, unique, antique requires a lot of finances, resources, and St. George's has been left out in many scenarios in order for other areas of the island to be able to shine. And I think making it known that as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, we must ensure that we keep what is required to actually keep going so that we can maintain. In reference to the ferries, we've been pushing for a consistent daily ferry for some time. I actually came in May when they weren't sure if they were going to have a ferry, and they did manage to get a ferry. It was a choppy schedule. So this year, we actually decided that we needed to know in advance so that people can actually plan and ensure that if they're going to have tours or anything like that, then they know that there's a ferry that will bring. And the ministry has committed to ensure that we do get a daily Monday to Friday ferry, and we're just waiting to ensure that they can actually provide us with that. Other means of transportation, you have the minibuses, you have the taxis, and it's island wide. Transportation is an issue. We've spoken with both Water Bay, we've spoken with St. Regis, and that's the number one issue is transportation. And I know that as we, the corporation, are trying to work with all organizations to ensure that we can provide them with some of the things that they're looking for, like parking spaces and different amenities. We're trying to work with them to ensure that we can make the season coming ahead the best season for everyone involved.
Alrighty. Audience, if you have any questions or comments, please send them through and we'll do our best to get through as many as possible.
So one of the things that has happened with St. George's is the opening of St. Regis over the last few years. What impact has that hotel had on St. George's?
St. Regis has, I can definitely say there's been an impact. It's a small impact. It is a small hotel. And they are working very diligently to ensure that they incorporate community. And they have worked with Eastern Primary on different initiatives. And they are working with, I've met with them on occasion to see how we can work together and provide more community-based things. They are a high class, so they're people that come there are looking for, high scale things. But in reference to what we offer in St. George's, it seems that they've been quite happy. They're quite happy with restaurants that we have and the type of boutique shops that we have. So we have seen an increase in the visitors island-wide, year-round. And so as it goes from strength to strength coming out of a pandemic, I think it's even going to be more because they're actually looking at constructing some more condos. So we've actually seen people that have actually bought the condos, they're a part of the community, and they are doing the things that normal residents do.
Alrighty.
Good to hear. Good to hear. So what needs to happen for St. George's to be successful, busy place that people want to go?
Money. You talk about the budget. It's very interesting because last year I wasn't the mayor at the time, and I reached out to both the Minister of Public Works, because the municipality falls under Public Works, and to the Minister of Finance, who is also the Premier, in reference to what is being allocated to St. George's as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. St. George's as a UNESCO World Heritage Site requires a lot of funding in order to maintain our status. And with the building of St. Regis, people may or may not know that it did sort of bring some red flags to UNESCO in reference to it being so close to the beach. And so a lot of things that we do, we don't realize how it actually hinders sometimes the status that we do here. And so it's actually brought light to a lot of people in reference to what it means to maintain a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And so the number one thing that St. George's really needs is funding. And we need to be able to provide the funding because too many of our museums are volunteer based. And so anyone can fall sick, anyone can be unable to make it to work. So then a museum's closed. And so one of the things that we're actually trying to do is trying to see how we can raise some funds so that we become a manager of the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Because there's many private entities that are within our town, and many of them just are staying open very minimum because they are reliant on volunteers as well. So if we had funding to ensure that these museums, these places of interest can stay open, I think can stop saying that St. George's is not open, but they have to realize that a lot of these people are actually on a volunteer basis.
Okay, yeah, and money makes the world go round, so we understand that. When I think of St. George's, and I always go there, you always find something new. It's tons of hidden gems that I'm sure a lot of people don't know about. What are some things you believe the town, you know, makes it an attractive destination for visitors and locals alike?
St. George's, and I'll probably be biased again, restaurants, we have done a very good job in providing great dining in St. George. So we have it from the high scale, St. Regis, right down to the takeout. So more and more people or opportunities are being coming about in St. George's. So our restaurant dining, evening dining is quite vibrant. Always, like you said, you can come to St. George's and a few of our stores you can go in and you just find things that you just didn't even expect to find. And so walking along Water Street, coming along York Street, there's always things that you can, if you go into the shops and have a little look, as we say, they're hidden, but there are things that you can use, both visitors and like. I always look at things and I say to people, it's us locals, which is St. George's people, and then we like to consider our visitors both locally and internationally. So most times I consider my Somerset friends, they're just visitors to St. George's. They're not like, they really don't know St. George's. They act like they do. They come down maybe for cup match or something like that. But you're just a visitor to the Ill Town. And but we're trying to ensure that every visitor and our locals can get something. Summers Gardens is a great place for a venue, sitting off, bringing your children, enjoying the history of St. George, Sir George Summers, where his heart is so-called buried. Unfinished Church, it's become quite popular for weddings nowadays. So that's a great jam. All our forts, it's a good thing right now. The St. George's Foundation is cleaning up a lot of the forts. So even Gunpowder Cabin is being cleaned up. So, the hidden gems are becoming more visible. And I think that people need to come and take a stroll because we didn't get our UNESCO status just off a whim. We had to do a lot of work to get it. And Bermuda should be very proud that we actually have a UNESCO World Heritage Site within on our island.
Agreed.
Yeah. Let's go to the audience. We've got a few questions. We've got some rude people in the audience too, like Sherry Vanderpool saying, love St. George's, very quaint, love the old town feel, but my cup match team will remain Somerset. Well, I mean,
that's all right. We have to have people that represent both teams.
And nobody asks.
Yeah. But Charles H. Jeffs II says, with larger ship coming to Bermuda, is there support to widen the cut to allow for larger ships?
That's a great question. I don't even think the politicians want to touch that. I remember in 2015, that was something that they were looking at. At the time, the government of the day was looking at that. And the pushback that they did get back from the community at that time. So I just think people have learned to accept that the Town Cup may not. It was actually a conversation that the MP for Constituency 1, MP Ming and myself had with Minister Furbert, transport minister, in reference to has there been any look at the town cut, because it may not even be that it needs to be widened, but at one point it was saying that it needed to be dredged so that the depth of the channel can take in some of that for the ship. So there's the Minister of Transport said they are looking at everything. So actually, it's out of our hands until they decide they're ready to come talk to us.
Interesting. Go back to the comments. We've got G. Howard says St. George's is a quaint slice of Bermuda and can be a prime venue for business with investment. The mayor can bring all of the issues and solutions to the table, but what and who helps see it through?
Yeah, that's a difficult one. St. George's is, people want to always compare us to Dockyard, and Dockyard is owned by Redco, and Redco can determine what actually happens in Dockyard. St. George is definitely not owned by the Corporation of St. George. It's privately owned. Every property is owned either by a private entity or corporation has a few buildings, government has some buildings down there as well. So it's not like I can demand somebody to be open. So my thing is work with everybody. And we all have a vision that we want to see St. George's to succeed. It just needs the proper leader to ensure that it does happen. And when I was mayor the first round, that was my my goal, and I feel that was the legacy that I did leave. And that was one of the reasons why quite a few people did reach out to me, because they felt that they lost a voice. And so right now we're building back up those partnerships, we're building back up those relationships to ensure that everyone realizes that we are all going to be on the same page in order to make St. George's move forward. And that means our residents as well as the businesses, because it takes us all to make this town, and it's not just dependable on the Corporation of St. George. It's all of us. And like I say to all my residents, because St. George's is so much different from Hamilton, we have a larger population of residents and a smaller population of business. And so this is a living town, and our residents have a bigger say than what they do probably within the Hamilton municipality.
Got you. Is there a fee to enter museums in St. George? Anika De Shields is asking.
Yes. Majority of them ask for a donation. I know St. Peter's Church was asking for a donation, and but the minimum fee I think is like $5 for most of the museums in St. George.
The audience loves you. They have a lot of questions. We've got Michael Daniels. Are St. George's feeling good about the city remaining as a World Heritage Site?
That's a mixed answer, I guess. I think the main issue is that we're not educated enough. A lot of people are not educated enough on exactly what it means to be a heritage site. Previously, I had gone into the schools, because if you get the children excited, then they get their parents excited and everybody else excited. So we are working with not the education, but the schools within the town, and that's St. George's Prep and East End Primary, to make them alert of what being a UNESCO World Heritage Site is. I think the need for Bermuda to understand what it means to be a UNESCO World Heritage Site, what it means to maintain a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and then how we move forward to ensure that we remain as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And I think the education hasn't been there from 2000, and we're going into our 24th year of being a UNESCO World Heritage Site. But when you talk to people, even in St. George, to them, they don't have a clue on what that actually means, or to what prestige that, some people would love to have this status. I went to Williamsburg in Virginia, and they were like, we just wish we could. And they basically have just tried to build what they felt what it looked like back in the day, where St. George's has already got our uniqueness. We got the St. Peter's Church, that part of that church was built back in the 1600s, and our streets and everything's the same. So the layout of our town has not changed, and I think people may not realize that that's the uniqueness of what St. George's actually has is what got us our status with our fortifications.
So Ebony Souza says, so when are you coming back to discuss being a World Heritage Site? The door's wide open for Mayor. Come on.
Yeah, it's
when you want to talk about it.
okay, real quick. It's interesting that your last point, because my father-in-law stayed in Lewisburg, West Virginia, and it's a small town, and the signage around leading up to Lewisburg is all around, so people know to come. And I think that that's something that we probably should see, because I hear you talking, and Bermudians, we should be proud, we should know, but I don't think it's enough signage or information knowing, like, in, I don't know, down the Shelly Bay area, visit this, that, and the other, you know what I mean? I just think we need more going, because that's how people learn and that's how people know.
There are billboard laws in Bermuda and advertising.
Yeah, but I think you're totally right, because one of the things that was actually brought up just recently was like, there's nowhere in St. George I can take a picture and say I'm in the UNESCO World Heritage Site. And so it was like, yeah, you're right too. So that's something that we are actually looking forward to doing, to ensure that people know once they enter that in a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And then obviously we need to do our due diligence so that people want to visit the UNESCO World Heritage Site. So yeah, I totally agree with you.
You've got Karen Simmons. She's asking, is there going to be a movie theater once again in St. George down by Hano's Wharf?
Unless she's planning on building it. I think if she's talking about the Summers Playhouse, again, it's a private building. We've been hearing that it might go into a studio. I think that's basically what was in the Royal Gazette, I think, in reference to that building. But as a movie theater, I cannot say that that's coming online anytime soon, but who knows? Somebody might hear you and say they're going to do it. So yeah.
Shikarena says, is it possible to use tenders to transport cruise passengers from a too large cruise ship that is docked in the area to St. George, not just the ferry?
NCL actually has a deal with the Bermuda government, because they realize that they will not have a ship that will be able to come into the town of St. George. So every NCL ship that comes into dockyard, they actually have a tender that brings their passengers to St. George. So that's already happening. It's been working quite well. It's just the other ships that come to Bermuda that the passengers don't have no sort of way to get to St. George. And that's why the public transportation department is looking at Marina Ports is looking at a ferry to be able to bring other passengers that are not on NCL ships to St. George.
All righty. So there's been talk over the years of the government taking over the municipalities, right? Is this still a thing? And as mayor, what are your thoughts about the possibility, and what would it mean for the town of St. George if it happened?
St. George, currently the Municipalities Act of 1923 governs both City of Hamilton and the town of St. George. And in 2018, the government decided that they wanted to do a municipality reform. And in their municipality reform, they took to the House in reference to changing how persons are selected, or to change the municipalities to become kringos. And then therefore they will have a board rather than elected officials. It did pass in the House, did not pass in the Senate. And so since which has not come into legislation, but the City of Hamilton has actually fought this, and they've gone through the courts and they've been unsuccessful, but they've taken it now to the Privy Council. Because we're both governed by the same Act of Municipalities Act of 1923, the government cannot, or I've been informed that the government cannot do any changes to the municipalities until the court case is actually completed. Hence, last year, no, in May 2022, they were supposed to have an election because that was the term was finished, 3-year term, and they extended it to give them another term because they thought that maybe the Privy Council would have heard. And not hearing or not knowing when the Privy Council will actually hear the case, they decided to hold the election in May 2023 and for a 2-year period to say, okay, hopefully in 2 years we can have a decision and then we'll know how the municipalities will actually happen. The biggest thing that I felt back even in 2018 when they first talked about it, I was the mayor, and I spoke to the minister and I said, the first thing that needs to be done is to separate St. George and the city of Hamilton from the Municipalities Act because we're two different entities. And I think if you work on creating proper legislation for St. George and for the city of Hamilton, then it will be easier for you to be able to for everybody to be able to adjust and be able to agree to what may or may not be. St. George is definitely a total different animal from the city of Hamilton. And as I said before, we have over 1,300 residents and we only had 50. And this year, last year at the election, we only had like 35 ratepayers, and that's the business population in St. George. And so in Hamilton, they pretty much have 50-50. And so St. George's makeup, we have two business councillors, and then we have 4 residential councillors on the Corporation of St. George's. And then the mayor obviously represents both residents and business. So, and we are a living town. We are a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and we don't have any legislation on how to protect our UNESCO World Heritage Site. We don't have no legislation on any of the things that we probably need to put in place. So although I think that reform needs to take place, I don't think that the number one priority should have been the structure of the corporation by not having an election. But I think that it needs to be reformed to a more modernized act. And St. George's, and I'm St. George's because I don't know what happens in Hamilton, but St. George's is a different sort of in a different category than the city of Hamilton. And I've had the conversations with both MPs for St. George's, and they have been in agreement because I believe MP Mean was in the House when she stated that the acts should definitely be separated for St. George and the city of Hamilton.
Gotcha. It's a lot. Well,
very, very informative. Very informative.
I didn't know obviously they operated separately, but I understand your point of why they probably need to be separate. I get that, and thank you for explaining that. Look, I say on this show all the time that regardless of who's in government, we have a big part to play in what happens, to determine our destiny. What can the community do to ensure that St. George is a successful part of Bermuda for Bermudians and visitors alike?
Well, I'm always open to ensuring that the community plays a part. We have corporation meetings, and I made sure that I get community residents, businesses involved, get them on our committees as a member so that we get their input. We constantly try to go out to our community to ensure that we're representing their best interest. And I always have people that come to me from all over the island, basically saying St. George should do ABC, St. George should be doing XYZ. And I am the person that says, I agree, but you can't expect us to do everything. So come on board, present your ideas, and then we sit down and tell you how we can actually help you make sure that this can come to fruition. I find a lot of people like to talk, and so everybody, in order to make things happen, we need many hands, and having just my 2 hands or my staff's hands is minimum when we have a community, we have an island who's interested in St. George's and wanting to see things happen. And so we welcome any community, any person, any organization, business who has any sort of ideas, resources that they want to filter into St. George's. We're open to anything and everything because it's going to take us all to ensure that we're successful. And then once we're all working together, I find that obviously we'll see the vibrancy that we're looking for. We'll see the community base, what we're looking for. And I think that we'll be a successful people going forward. I honestly think that Bermudians are very caring people. We're always willing to help where we can. And I don't have a problem asking people for assistance. And I know I don't have all the answers, but where I can find the answers, I will. But I need your help to make sure that we're going forward together.
Indeed, Mayor. If anyone who's tuned in today would love to get in touch with you or your team, what's the best way they can do that?
You can call the corporation's office at 297-1532. You can send me an email at mayor@stgeorge.bm, or you can visit our website, corpofstgeorge.bm, and it's a lot of information on there on how to get in contact with anybody. We have monthly meetings at the town hall on the fourth Thursday of every month at 6 p.m. So you're more than welcome to come and participate. We do allow our public participation. And so then you can also contact any of our counselors in the town of St. George, and they're more than willing to help you as well. Our staff is great. Our town manager, reception at stgeorge.bm if you want to just contact the office. And we make sure that we work for everybody and we're working with you, not just against you.
Mayor of St. George's, Quinell Francis, thank you so much. Great conversation, very informative. And looking forward to having you back.
Not a problem.
Have a great one. Talk soon.
Have a great day.
All right.
Folks, if you appreciated that conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share it with your friends, your family, your colleagues. A lot of good information in there. I learned a lot, and I really, really appreciate her making the time. And definitely, as Ebony Souza said, got to get back, just talk about UNESCO. That's a conversation in itself, the old town. But don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break. Someone's going to win something. So hopefully everyone's still tuned in. We may do a hashtag giveaway to add someone else as well. So stick with us. We'll be back after this break.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's. Place else.
All right. Thanks again to Mayor Quinell Francis for stopping by. Really good conversation. Again, if you appreciated the conversation this morning, take it a second just to give us a like, a love. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can have these conversations with you on a daily basis. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Bermuda Trivia will be at the Black Vendors Market at Bacardi. Get yourself a game. Now, the way we're working this morning is, as Mark Arthur C. Phillips says, we have 50 people only right now on YouTube. We should have 50 likes. Hit the like button. All right. Today is a Name That Place. If you get the answer before Larry Marshall Jr., if it shows up on my screen first, you will be eligible. And we're giving away the prize today. All right. Here we go. Name that place. The Nile River is located on which continent?
Africa.
He didn't give you all a chance.
I know places. When you want to bring up music and stuff like that, I know it's a conspiracy against me.
Okay, Sandra. Or Sherry. That's what he sound like. Hashtag the Daily Hour, folks. Hashtag the Daily Hour. He didn't give you a chance. If we're going to give one more person to join Anika, Farah Palacio, and who was Mark Arthur C. Phillips. One more person is going to get the chance hashtag the Daily Hour to enter. But Larry, let's wrap up today, budget, and then obviously the conversation with the mayor of St. George.
Yeah, the budget again. We need to be informed. I know at some point I was intimidated by everything, 30 pages of stuff. There's some things you may not understand, but I encourage people. We have people that break down things, whether it's the daily. I know Maya, I think, hit some points, so are we saying that you have to read the entire thing? But find someone, get some level of understanding, call a friend, someone who's in finance, get that understanding, because I think the budget is an important thing to get. Deton, excellent conversation. I learned a lot, and I think we understand that resources will need to happen. But I'm glad she spoke about the World Heritage, the UNESCO piece, and it made us feel proud. And I think as Bermudians, we should take a level of pride in that, and just some may support the town of St. George's.
Indeed. When it comes to the budget, as I said earlier, I think we need to have our eyes wide open. I encourage people, even if you don't understand finances, just read it, glance it, just understand what it means for you. We can't make informed decisions unless we are informed, right? So I would encourage you, and we'll do our best on this show to communicate messaging with you. Last year, with the Information Commissioner's Office and the Information Commission of Bermuda, we did a special episode about the budget and what it means for you. I am happy to say that the Information Commissioner and myself will be doing that again this year. So I will let you know the official date, but it's the first week of March. We're doing that to ensure that you know how the budget impacts you. All right. I love St. George's. I do. This is not something where, I joke about it. I actually really do love the old town. I just love old buildings. And it's not something I really appreciated as a child, but I just love how quaint and peaceful it is. I think that St. George is probably one of the best assets Bermuda has. Unfortunately, we need money. We need support. When I ask people on this show, what can we, the community, do? I mean that. Now, obviously, I can't keep going broke myself, but as a community, we can make it into the destination that it needs to be. So I love this, Carol Swainson. She says, "Oh, I always make St. George the first stop on my tour for friends visiting Bermuda." Yeah, Wahoo used to be my first stop previously, but I get in too late now when I travel to Bermuda. But let's do the hashtag giveaway to see who we're going to be able to add to the draw. So we have Farrah Palacio, Mark Arthur C. Phillips, and Anika DeShields in there so far. Let's hit this and see who will be joining them. All right, let's go. Drum roll, please. Let's see who's gonna join them. Stacey Ann Brown. Let me just write your name. Let's write Stacey and put her in the draw.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to you. Give her some congrats, and let's wish her luck as we put her in the draw, folks. And you all keep laughing at my red cup. I can't find my mugs. All right.
All right.
Let's do the draw. Let's see.
Like it's moving around.
Move it around. Okay. Let's see who's it gonna be. All right. Who's this week's winner? Mark Arthur C. Phillips. Congratulations. It is. I don't know why I do that like they can say. Mark Arthur C. Phillips, please send an email to engage@thedailyhour.com. Audience, give Mark some congratulations. We are giving away something every week on this show because we appreciate you for riding with us, for helping us have these community meetings every morning. I believe that together we can find the solutions to the problems that we face. I don't speak because I want anyone to agree with me. I just come up with things that make me think from my reading and my teachings, and hope that we all can share our different perspectives that lead us to a place of understanding and a more prosperous perspective in terms of where Bermuda can be and go. So thank you all for your contributions. There is no show tomorrow. There's no show tomorrow. We'll be back on Monday. Trying to figure out if I could go watch the budget, but then I'm like, nah, do I really feel like putting myself through an hour or so of David Burt speaking? But anyway, Larry, you got some daily inspiration for us?
Yes, I do. The slightest adjustment to your daily routines can dramatically alter the outcomes in your life. And that's from Darren Hardy.
This is true, man.
Slight adjustments, folks.
Out there, exercise, eat differently, take some deep breaths. Folks, please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you on Monday. He's Larry Marshall Jr. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are is out.
All right.